How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ruffle Rowlet, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 Pokemon that I think would be awesome to see in Generation 8. Pokemon that potentially could show up in Generation 8, just in the style and the kind of the way they look like. That'd be really cool for Pokemon Switch 2019, aka Pokemon Generation 8. So before we get started with this video, all the links to the artwork that is going to be used in this video will be linked down below to the proper credited people who made them. Everything will be down there so you guys can check it out. Go check out the people's works and also give them some love. So everything will be down there. But also do keep in mind, these are all Fakemon, so these are fan-made, which means that these are not official, and these will probably not be official, but they're cool concepts for what could happen. And since Pokemon does take inspiration from fan works, the Game Freak employees have previously taken inspiration from fan works and stuff they've seen from fans, there is a chance that these sort of things could end up being real in the future. Who knows? We will never know exactly unless we kind of find them and compare them and be like, okay, this looks like this. Either way, let's get into the list with number 5. Number 5. So coming in number 5 is going to be the Pokemon, or Fakemon, Monocro. Now, Monocro is made by Dark and Windy Fakemon, a designer that's made quite a lot of Fakemon. Actually, he's made several Pokédexes worth of Fakemon, and he's an amazing designer in general. But either way, though, what is this? Well, this is a crow Pokemon. Now, we've had previously Pokemon based on crows, but this one, to me, looks like distinctly different and unique. And just because we have other Pokemon that have been based specifically on a certain animal, doesn't mean we can have more of them, and Monocro, I think, is the perfect one for that. Now, the Pokédex entry that's been made here, fan-made one, says that they have the power to change its settings in which it lives by giving off a saturating aura. Monocro normally hate anything vivid and colorful, so they immediately try to attack anything too bright. Now, this is really cool because giving it that whole feeling of like just being a very dark and gritty Pokemon, with the dark, of course, typing, and of course being a flying type because it can fly, it's a bloody crow. But the fact that it literally has an ability that makes it, or rather like the fact that it just like changes its aura because it doesn't like too much, like, you know, too much colorfulness and too much saturation, is truly unique and like an interesting concept, I've got to be honest. Like a Pokemon that truly wants to just be in the shadows lurking around there. It kind of reminds me of other Pokemon we've seen, but this would be really cool to see for just a base general Pokemon. Like, that would be really awesome in my opinion. And of course, it does also seem to have an evolution, which is called Chromie. Now, Chromie is slightly larger, as you may notice in design. It is slightly larger as a Pokemon, and its Pokédex entry states that they're known to gather together at midnight and give off an eerie cries similar to baby screams. When faced with a colorful Pokemon as an opponent, they will not stop trying to defeat it and will continue to attack until its owner recalls him. Or them. This is unique. So Chromie literally is the embodiment of like just hatred towards anything that is bright. So that is kind of strange, but it's also a really cool concept though. Like literally a Pokemon that just hates anything related to light. Now imagine if we had like something like a light typing, right? Or something like in that style. It would be really unique to see how a Pokemon like this would react to that. And also, I would love to see what kind of like a Chromie would look like if it was shiny, because I think that would be very interesting in all fairness. So that is that one. Let's go to number 4 on this list. Number 4. Now, coming in at number 4 is going to be Wyvern. Now, Wyvern is also made by Dark and Windy, so yeah, it's going to be a few designs here from him because honestly, the man is fantastic. So, Wyvern is the hothead Pokemon. Now, you can notice that from its general design. It looks basically like a mixture between a bat and just kind of like a, I don't even know what other animal to use here, but it's just like a little fire bat, basically, to put it bluntly. Now, its Pokédex entry describes it as, it grows angry and sad whenever it loses a battle, so it trains extremely hard, which is good to know. Their wings are full of magma, so whenever they flap them, there is nothing but hot air. This is very unique, and honestly, I think this would be a really cool Pokemon to have, and the sort of ability, like having Drought for it, does make sense as well. Like, it's a really cool Pokemon, honestly. And the fact that Drought is there makes also sense with the Pokédex entry. So it evolves into Vernas, which is this Pokemon, as you'll see right here, which is basically like a slightly larger version with, you know, also magma in its wings, so to say. And this one's Pokédex entry says that their wings are very blunt and able to give off extreme levels of heat. They train hard near active volcanoes to build up their strength. And then, of course, the final evolution here would be Lavern. Now, Lavern, of course, as you can see, has massive freaking wings, made out of pure magma at this point. Now, the wings are made out of lava, so they're able to melt anything that makes contact with them. They're able to blast out 257,000 degrees of flames from their maws. Now, this is just extreme. Like, this is going and taking it to a brand new level of, like, craziness. I'm gonna be brand new, you know, genuinely honest. And it's known as the Lava Wings Pokemon. So generally, I think this is a cool-ass Pokemon. It's a cool-ass concept. Like, having a bat that has wings made out of magma and lava eventually is really cool. And of course, drought, because it would literally be making every water around it essentially evaporate due to the levels of heat, you know, kind of entering it, so to say, or around it. Very unique Pokemon, very cool concept. Definitely would love to see something like this in the future. Like, a fire bat is awesome, in my opinion. That would be so cool. And as someone who loves bat Pokemon in general in Pokemon, besides Zubat, I would be so on board for that. I mean, Crobat's cool and all, but, you know, Zubat specifically, like, let's avoid that one. Either way, my point is, really cool Pokemon. We can never have too many bat Pokemon, so I'd be on board for this one. Let's get to the next one on the list. Number 3. Now, coming in at number 3 is going to be Boxshell. Now, Boxshell, you can already tell from the name what this is. Now, it's known as the Hermit Pokemon, and basically, it's a little cute creature with a Pokemon box on its head, or just a box in general, with a Pokeball at the front of it. Now, this is a very strange Pokemon, but I feel like this one fits into the category of, like, this Pokemon in the style of, like, Mimikyu. And what I mean by that is, like, Mimikyu in reality is literally walking around with a rug on it, right? So you don't even know what's underneath it, but instead, you know, you just see that rug itself. Now, imagine a Pokemon like this, which literally has a box on its head, and that's what it walks around with. I mean, that's just genuinely cute. Now, it also does have an evolution, but before we go to that, let's actually talk a bit more about Boxshell here. Now, Boxshell is a hermit Pokemon, which, okay, fair enough. It's a hermit. It hides under its box. That's pretty cute. Its Pokédex entry states that they take residence in abandoned boxes and keep traveling with them as a shell. It's a very sensitive Pokemon that always cries and hides under its box shell when it feels threatened. Now, this reminds me, of course, very much of Mimikyu, right? Mimikyu being a very scared Pokemon, or very creepy Pokemon, I guess, and people not really liking it, so it hides under its, you know, rug, so to say. But this would be a Pokemon that I think people would like, but it would just be a very shy Pokemon. I mean, hence why it would be a hermit, right? It makes a lot of sense. I think it's a really cool concept, genuinely awesome, and of course it does have a evolution, which is called Hermit. This is kind of a hard name to say. This is the Hermit Pokemon as well, and this one's Pokédex entry is slightly different, but also the design is very much different from the original one, and I kind of prefer the actual, like, first stage, and I think the first stage would be fine just as a one stage and no evolution, but the Pokédex entry for its evolution, though, does state that their bodies have now combined with the box they had when they were bookshells, jeez. Sharp blades extend from the box when they feel that they are being threatened. That is a very unique kind of thing to happen. I guess I'm not sure where the actual spikes or blades or whatever would be coming out, you know, why they would be coming out, but hey, whatever, I'm on board. So genuinely a cool design, again, from Dark and Windy. Just a fantastic designer. Do give him some love. Let's go to number 2 on the list. Number 2. Now, coming up next is a design made by TR Spicy on DeviantArt. Now, this is... wow, okay, this is just a fantastic Pokemon. Now, it does have pre-evolution stages, which I won't be showing right now. If you want to check them out, I will link them down below, though, so you guys can still check out the pre-evolutions. But this is Barrier. Now, Barrier is a mixture between the words bear and barrier, which is pretty interesting. I do kind of like that. And you, of course, can check out the evolutions. I will link them down below. And the Pokédex entry, or the Fakedex entry here, is that Barrier's armor can be protected from artillery shells. Barrier's claws can rip through steel. Barrier are actually usually lazy and sleep many hours of the day. So this would be very similar to something like Snorlax, right? A very lazy Pokemon, but genuinely the design is so cool, though. Of course, you see the shells, which would be used. I mean, you can see it at the front there. It looks like a bear's paw on its belly, but of course, it's just, you know, the belly in general, with these kind of, I guess, bones sticking out, so to say. Looking just incredible, honestly. And I mean, if this can literally take an artillery shell, that would be so sick. Overall design is great. I love the mixture of the colors. The eyes look badass. Just a cool design in general, and I could only imagine what this Pokemon could achieve if it actually was out and you were able to use it. I mean, it kind of reminds me of something, like, I mean, I feel like I've seen something like this before in Pokemon, but not to this extent, right? And I don't mind more bear Pokemon. Honestly, we have a few, but I don't mind any more of them, because I would love more of them any day. Honestly, any day I'd love to take more of them in, and just have more of them in Pokemon. So, genuinely an awesome Pokemon. Let's get to the next one on the list. number 1. And of course, finally on this list, the number 1 spot, we gotta have a Pokemon from Smiley Fakemon, right? We just gotta. And that's going to be Lepolar. Lepolar is the soft snow Fakemon. Now, this is so cute. Now, the actual name is a mixture of lepus, which equals hair, plus polar, and you can of course see that now. I guess lepus is Latin, I would assume, and its species is the soft snow Pokemon. It's a normal ice type, which you can of course probably tell, and I guess it's got snow around it as its kind of fur, and it looks like a little rabbit almost. I mean, of course that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be in hair, hence the lepus part, but honestly, it's just so cute, and its actual entry here made by Smiley Fakemon says that Lepolar live mostly in snowy areas where they hide away from predators in self-dug caves. Their soft fur very closely resembles snow and grows bigger as it grows older, which does make sense. It totally makes sense, and I could not even imagine how cool this thing would look like if it actually evolved, because I would assume that this thing evolving would make it look kind of like Lopunny almost. I mean, kind of on bipedal, rather on 2 feet and whatnot, but I would love to see it actually just stay on all 4s, right? I think that would be really cool, and not having it turn into just kind of like another Lopunny or something like that. I think that actually would be a cooler way to see this thing evolve, but then again, that could just be me. So overall, that is the end of the video, guys. If you did enjoy, then drop a like down below. If you want to see more of these top 5 videos, then let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. My name is EwinRacing, and of course, if you did enjoy, do subscribe for future ones. Have a great day, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.